So today we're going to be learning how to leverage quantitative and quantitative data for insightful narratives. So I always say that it's always best to look at not only just the information, but other components that may not be measurable and integrate that into the research process because it makes sense and it creates a full story. So, by analyzing structural data and interpreting social cues, we can build a further understanding of what drives performance, such as like an e commerce or social media um, campaign. So the first thing first, I always say is like look at your information. This is a very popular request by businesses that do a lot of e-commerce, where they have their own store, Amazon. Is they like to look at the cost per SKU, especially when it comes to things such as packaging, ad costs, things like that. So this is an example of what you can do. I use Tableau to create this, and this basically allows the person that's using the dashboard to look up by SKU some of the profit, revenue, prices, rate of returns, the return rate on that particular product, especially if you're doing and selling things on marketplaces like Amazon. So I always say to look at the data and the information just to give you a good overview of what you're working with. And then the next step, of course, is to have a conversation with the client and look for those keywords. So let's say that the client wants to know, how much product is being sold and they want insights to help them make a decision about what to buy for next season. And then, a very common question is how much ads are costing by SKU. So the easiest one that you can do pretty metrical is just to look at the SKU and see how much the ads are costing. That's pretty simple. Now, what is not simple, of course, is when you have to pull that information from one source and then put it into a different table or taking a consensus of it. So, and that requires you just to use, a Tableau or download to Excel or connect to a database depending on how their information is structured, their data flow is structured. So, but when it comes to the more complex question, of, how am I going to utilize this in order to make decisions, right? So it's not so much, hey, let me just go into the database and pull the most successful SKUs, is to sort of try to find out why it's popular, right? What information can you pull from other sources that can help you give the full story of why something is selling? Because when you look at the why, you can then find out the motivation and influences, and then they can see that and make a decision about what they're going to do for next season or next year, depending on how they have it organized. So, trends and influences can manifest in various different ways depending on if you're doing B2C or B2B. B2B is turning into more B2C, to be quite honest with you, especially if, let's say, your client is a wholesaler, so they're selling to consumers, kind of consumers. It's B2B, but then the B2B is selling to consumers, so they're wanting something that the consumer wants. You know what I mean? So it's becoming a little bit more smashed together. So being able to see where these points of entries are very important, especially when you're dealing with something like an e-commerce or marketing, because it allows you to be able to draw a picture and track where the influences are coming from. There is another step other than just consulting with the team, like your marketing team or your sales team, and just getting like a basic blank report about what's selling, is to try to have conversations and try to introduce them to certain concepts. And this may be something that the company is already utilized in their data flow, like they have a person building out their data flow. Sometimes they don't. So in my concept, the way I like to look at information and data, especially when it comes to SKUs, is I look for commonalities, and then I look for items that pair together because I'm able to track it. Because it usually builds up a trend, right? It usually builds up a trend. So let's say that the trend is old money. or elegant, right? Usually that's built up of other components. So to me, a set would be a bracelet and necklace, right? So looking for SKUs that are bracelet and necklaces together. And then you have a silk shirt, which is not in the category of bracelets and necklaces, but if you see a bunch of orders that have the same um, SKU over and over again paired with the same accessories, more than likely you're dealing with a trend. And then you can go to the social media manager and sort of look at some things as far as like, hey, what sort of trends and things are happening for us to be selling this product, understanding those motivations. Also, along with that is knowing that the why factors, such as customer preferences and trends, help create a bigger picture down the road. Because what happens is there is a predictive information. We will predict that this will sell. And this prediction is then verified or proven to be true once you get what I call customer generated data, which is your sales order. So your sales predictions is, or sales prediction or behavior prediction is 1, 2, and 3. And then the actualization of that, it will be something that the customer generates. So if it's an app, it is going to be generated by the customer actually onboarding and playing the game, right? You target it correctly. If it's the order, is going to be pulling in all this the SKU numbers into that order and seeing what it is paired with and what it is often sold with. And this will go into termination of upsells and things like that. And then connecting those things with trends, and it builds upon that beyond, ads and all keywords and all that good stuff. So that is an example of how you can create a narrative and story. So if we go back to our customer and we find out that there's a trend, elegant trend, or let's say rich money, or a trend where it's preppy, we can say, well, it seems that based on the information from the sales, based on information from marketing, during this time, we indicate that this influencer have been influenced by these trends that are happening on social media. If you can get the marketing team or whoever runs the social media or ads, or whoever is doing the customer community, basically it's like a customer social listeners, what they're called. They go in and they actually look at posts. They see if people are tagging the company and see what people are saying, how they're utilizing the products. Then that confirms it. Hey, this person is actually using this, your necklace, your bracelet, your silk shirt, or they're pairing the silk shirt and then they're pairing it with pearl earrings. You don't have pearl earrings. So hey, if you want to, is this a trend or a trend or influencing, we'll continue on to next season. Then you can add in the pearl earrings, and then people are going to buy the whole set. They're going to buy the shirt, and they're going to buy the necklace, and they're going to buy the earrings to go along with that. So breaking the data up into having different attributes, and also having set and pairs help, and then also pulling information from other departments makes a nice, clean sort of story narrative, so they can then make a decision about what they're wanting to do next season or next year or the next step in their product or service. So that's pretty much it. Always combining the quantitative and quantitative insights provides a dynamic and actionable report. It enhances decision making across teams and help anticipate customers' needs and trends. So that is it. If you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.